Welcome to the Electronic Teacher Guide for Foundation Science Biology. The Electronic Teacher Guide is a digital planning and teaching tool developed by EDC with support from the National Science Foundation. It's designed to help high school teachers plan and teach an inquiry-oriented biology curriculum called Foundation Science. This video introduces the ETG tool and how to use it as you plan your instruction. First, I want to point out that I'm using the web browser Firefox. You can also use Google Chrome. These are the two preferred browsers. If you don't have one of them, you should download and install it from the web. So registering and logging in is straightforward. You just create a username, put in your email, create a password, and then repeat the password. Once you've done that, you log in using your username and your password, and log in. May take a while to load the first time, but don't worry, just bear with it. So here we see the main screen for a learning experience, which is the Foundation Science equivalent of a mini unit or a set of lessons. This is learning experience, or LE3, of traits and proteins. You'll spend most of your planning time working with this view. However, there's a higher level menu that I want to show you. It's up here on the left. This menu gets you to other LEs and to video and text resources that can help guide your teaching. So, there are three categories in this menu, and the first, Units and Learning Experiences, gives you a map of all the Foundation Science curriculum units. I'm going to skip this now because this ETG prototype has only 3 sample units. LEs 2, 3, and 4. You can navigate between these LEs using this menu at any time. Support, the next category, brings up an index of what are called essential supports. These are video and text resources that drill into important challenges in inquiry-oriented science teaching. You may see this little dialogue coming up when you switch pages. That's just to make sure that we don't lose anything. So click Stay on page, or rather leave page when you're ready to move. So here's the Essential Supports menu. Among the general supports that you have are text documents about content sequencing and modifying the curriculum and formative assessment. Below this are video and text documents about the specific challenges of teaching LEs 2 and 3. For example, for LE2, a demonstration video shows a classroom teacher using brainstorming to determine students' prior knowledge and introduce new content and establish a safe classroom culture. The LE3 resources include 3 texts that highlight ways to promote effective student discourse in the science classroom, and then a whole series of 4 videos with transcripts that show how a teacher carefully manages the progression of a student discussion about whether the school should serve genetically modified foods. Now the third menu category, Reflection, is the place to go when you want to take stock and reflect on how your teaching of Foundation Science is going. When you click that, you will find a reflection tool that's now in PDF form. So you print it out, and at the end of a week or an LE, you can use it to reflect back on each component of your teaching, how it went, and what you might do differently next time. Okay, so that is the main menu. Now, we're going to look at LE3, the one we had up before, molecular basis of traits. And I'm going to show you 3 things in the rest of this demo. First, I'll tell you about the screen layout. Then, second, how to navigate through the material. And third, how to modify and enhance the materials as you plan your instruction. So first, the layout. There are three main sections of the screen. First, there's the top menu, that's up here. And this shows you the scope and sequence of LE3. Here you can see the different phases of the unit. In the consider phase, students are introduced to the key concepts through a story. And you can find out what students already know via a brainstorming exercise. Investigate, up here, is a set of activities and readings that students do to address a challenge. In this case, it's deciding about whether genetically modified potatoes should be used in the school cafeteria. Process is a phase where students discuss and share their solutions to the challenge. And assess and enrich gives you ways to find out what students learned and extend your teaching. Now, if you want to get a quick overview of the learning experience and the curriculum flow, an important part of the upper menu here is called Preview. So it's over here in the upper left, and this gives you a graphical summary of each part of the learning experience and its rationale. So for example, I can see that the lab activity during the investigate phase has students carrying out an investigation where they insert a new gene into bacteria and observe a new trait. Okay? Now that is the upper menu. The other two parts of the screen are the left panel and the right panel. The left panel displays an e-reader. Here's where you can view the student book and the teacher guide for this learning experience. You toggle between student and teacher views with this book view button. So now we're looking at the teacher view, and if you want to look at the student view, you click there. The student book shows the text that students will have in their textbooks. The teacher book has additional guidance about goals and key concepts, teaching strategies, and common student responses and misconceptions that can help you plan your instruction. This includes, in some cases, embedded videos about important teaching moves. As you're reading, you can page forward or back in the teacher book or the student book using these page numbers down at the bottom of the page. Okay. Now the right panel is your lesson planning workspace. This is called My Lesson Planner. It gives you a basic slide deck with student-facing material to project in class. Each section of the text has its own associated slides. So now we're in the introduction, and these are the introductory slides. If we go to the lab section of the investigation, over here, now we're looking at those slides that correspond to this section of the curriculum. Now you can use these slides to teach as is, or you can modify them as you think necessary for your students. When you're done editing all of your slides, you can export the slides and open them in PowerPoint for display to students in the classroom. To see the slides in the deck, you can scroll up and down, or you can use the arrows to go left and right through the sequence. And again, that moves you along in the menu, going left and right. Now you'll notice that each slide is divided into two sections, an upper section and a lower section. This sort of gray line separates the two. Above the line is the material students will see. Below it are teacher notes. These are the notes that only you will see. The teacher notes explain what the purpose of each slide is in the sequence and offer suggestions for clarifying and extending the concepts and information for students. As you modify slides for your students, the teacher notes help you consider the pedagogical intent of the original material, and you can edit these notes as well to underscore things you may want to mention or reinforce during your teaching. They're titled Purpose, Clarify, and Review often. Now, one note is that you can, using this little button here, you can widen or narrow the space of reading the e-text or working in your workspace at any time to make it easier. Just click this arrow icon. Okay, briefly for navigation, just to sort of review this, you can navigate through the student books and the slides by clicking on these menu items at the top of the screen. We move right to that corresponding part of the e-text and the slides. Second, you can use the arrows at the top of the slides here, move up and down the slides or move laterally through the slides. Or a very nice way to do it is to use what's called list view at the top of your menu. List view brings up icons and shows you each slide in the sequence. So for example, there are 4 introductory slides. I can go to any one of those by jumping down directly. That will take me to corresponding slide and place in the book. Now if a slide is sometimes blank when you're navigating around, don't be alarmed. That's because there's no corresponding student material for the material that's in the teacher book. And now I'm going to show you how you can modify and save slides as you prepare to teach. First, as you plan, you can edit slides. Let me go back here. You can edit slides as you would any other document using the text tools. So I can simply highlight the part of the text that I want to change and I can type. Simple text tools that you're familiar with from any word processor are up here. You can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the style. Okay. Second, you can add images and graphics to slides easily as well by dragging and dropping them where you want. So, suppose that I'm working on slides for the lab. And this lab involves introducing students to the concept of introducing new traits into bacteria. So suppose I want to get them interested in that by adding a new slide with an image on it, a slide that shows bacteria. What I can do is find a slide or find an image that I like. Here's for example, at the bottom of this page, there's an interesting image of glowing bacteria, and I might want to put that right here to introduce students to that image. So I can simply add a new slide by clicking this, choose the kind of slide. I think I'll choose headline and image. There's several here, different kinds of text and image formats. Click Insert, and when I see my new slide, I notice that there's a drag image here background. I can simply drag this image over and add a title. If I decide that I don't like this image, I can always just highlight it and delete it, or I could delete the entire slide if I decide that it's not working for me. That's the way you add an image. Now, a very common thing that you might want to do is enhance slides by adding material from the web. Images, videos, interactives, or other resources. So to help you find those kinds of resources, we've created a feature that's called Search Web. And it's on the upper right of the top menu. This provides a filtered search tool. You click on Search Web on the upper menu at any time and you'll get a concept map specifically for this learning experience that also functions as a kind of search tool. So you can click on a term, for example gene, and you'll see a series of vetted web resources that appear in the left panel here They include web links, images, videos, and interactives. And these are from websites that the developers have deemed to be of high quality. You can also type in your own search terms to that prior screen. Now, if you see an image here that you like and want to add to the slide deck, you can similarly add a slide and drag the image that you like over. So suppose we think this one is good. You can resize it and add a title or other text depending on the format that you've chosen. And so now I want to talk to you about saving your deck. Up here you can see the tools that allow you to manage the decks that you're working on. The Save button is here, the green arrow. So even though your material is automatically saved, it's a good idea to save your decks periodically and give them names that you can recognize when you're teaching. You might want to put in the name of the class, maybe the date. Your file will be saved, and you can see any of the files that you've created at any time by clicking on the presentations list, which will bring up a set of names of slides, decks that you've made. Now, if you want to preview your deck at any time, get a look at what it's going to look like as a set of slides, you can click the preview button right next to the Save button. This takes a moment to load, but it brings up a view of all the slides in the deck. You can navigate through those slides by clicking in the menu at the bottom or by using the right and left arrow keys on your keyboard. So if we want to go over and see the slide that we just created, you can notice that it's here. So that's how you preview your slides. If you want to make changes, just close the preview and go back and make changes. This is a nonsensical slide. It doesn't really fit here, so I'm gonna delete this. I might want to add another picture that's more appropriate, or I just want to delete the slide altogether. Save again. And when we think the deck is in good shape, we can export it. Export is up here, and when you click Export, you will see that the slide deck is saved to a PowerPoint presentation. You can click OK, and depending on the settings on your computer, it will automatically open up a PowerPoint file with that deck in it, or you might have to go and open it from your hard drive. But now we have our deck in PowerPoint, and you can make additional sort of fine edits on your deck in this formatting and of images and text. You'll notice here you do have the teacher notes down at the bottom of each slide, so that if you are projecting this from your computer when you're teaching, you can actually use these to guide the discussion with students. So that's it. We wish you the best of luck in using the ETG. Please contact members of the project team if you have questions or problems, and we really look forward to feedback that you might be able to give us on the ETG. Thanks a lot.